Hello everyone, welcome back to Big Time Auto Racing Episode 2. So we got our first one in a couple weeks ago after Southern National, and we just raced Florence last night for the Cars Tour Aaron's 125 presented by Grand Atlantic Resorts. So we neither one of us had stellar nights. I finished 18th and you finished 15th? 16th. So nothing stellar by any means, but I came home unscathed, and you were a little wounded, but not too terrible. But this week, like always, we are going to rate the track. But we have a little bit different format. Last week we did it 0 to 5, and I feel like that's too narrow of a scale because we ended up adding decimals, which we might as well just do it to 1 to 10 if we're going to do that. So no decimals now, but we're going to rate the track. With that being said, Southern National last week, that score, we updated our scores for that, and my final updated score was a 6.
Right.
So I had a 6. What did you have for Southern
7.
National?
Mine ended up after redoing it was
right. So
7.
the final score for Southern National was 6.5.
Yep.
So not bad, 6.5.
Yeah.
On the average score for Southern National. So just to update that, because last week we said, I guess it would have been a 4, right? Isn't that what it was? Or no, 3. It was 3 for D. That's right. Yeah. So anyway, ends up with a 6.5 from last week. So we just wanted to update everybody on that. But going forward, we got our track ratings for Florence. My first time ever there. You've been there multiple times, pretty familiar to you, but I had a whole new experience. And going in, didn't feel too great about it. I'm not going to lie, because we stayed on the wrong side of town, I think, my dad and I, or his team and stuff, back in the day when he raced there. But getting started, man, how did you feel about the configuration of the racetrack and the condition of the racing surface?
Yeah, for me, I've been pretty vocal about it. I always enjoyed going down and running with the Zacharias family when they had Myrtle Beach, and obviously we all know now.
So the same people that owned Myrtle Beach own Florence now?
Well, ran it, yeah.
Oh, ran
it.
Okay.
I don't know if technically Steve and them own it now. I don't know if they do or not. I know
either way, same guy that ran the track.
Yeah.
That's why there's pictures of Myrtle Beach in the bathroom.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So Steve and his wife Jacqueline and everything. They do a great job. And their kids
go-kart
are,
track outside.
Yeah,
That's
their
cool.
kids are helping. I mean, it's a big family deal down there, and they always make you feel welcome. So for me down there, as far as the configuration and condition, I give it an 8.
Yep.
To some on that second category there, about the condition, I don't take into account or let it affect the fact that it's a wore out surface. It's not coming up. It's not.
Yeah. No, I love the worn out surface part.
For me on that category, it's an 8.
Yeah.
So.
I gave it a 7, and that's because I loved the surface, and the configuration of the track I thought was pretty cool. I do get kind of tired of wrapping bottom around fences, just because you get screwed, and you learn firsthand. You've seen that firsthand this weekend. You can get screwed in that, so that's a little bit annoying. I wish it was an apron rather than the fence there, if that makes sense. In other words, where the catch fence is, inside of that. Well, I'll say the chain link fence inside of that. Maybe if the wall, kind of like how Hickory is, if the wall's there instead, and then maybe it's a concrete patch down there. I think personally it could make for some, maybe not better racing, but less damage and stuff on the cars. So that hurt the score a little bit for me. I'm picking out flaws because the track was badass, right? Yeah. It was super badass surface. The configuration, the shape, and everything I thought was awesome. I thought it was just wide enough to where you can race side by side. You could move up the track, and I think something else we kind of have to add to this configuration and condition is also raceability. Kind of also factors into this score. And it's a very racy track. I got to see the top brushed off by Regular and Ryan Glinsky. I was on the outside of someone and thought I was working the top, and then he blew by me on the outside. So that's cool as shit. I learned a lesson, and it ended up paying off for me later in the race because I got to use it a little bit up there. So that's why I gave it a 7, which is pretty high score. I see why you did an 8 is what I'm saying. But so right now 7 and 8 on the configuration and condition. Signal, I gave it an 8 because I was able to watch the truck and Xfinity race on my iPad in the trailer, full service, not hardly any interruptions. Was able to post any kind of stuff, and I don't think I ever had to go into airplane mode once to like reset. Like a couple times it would get slow, but nothing bad. And it seems like all the dartfish stuff came through really, or race trace stuff came through really fast.
Yeah,
that was nice. That was the first time I've ever got it on practice day.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something cool that I learned from. So Signal, I gave it an 8, which is probably gonna be one of the higher ones all year.
Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing. I mean, there's really nothing, I guess, keeping it from being a 10. I guess just like me and you say, being early in the year, hard to jump.
Yeah, they're a victim of early in the year, but also like the hiccups in my stream watching the Xfinity race and stuff is why it wasn't a 10, I guess, because it wasn't perfect. But
I mean, for me, like I said, I gave it an 8 as well. I mean, but like
it could probably be a 9.
Yeah, for me,
but it's too early in the season.
I didn't have any issues getting dartfish stuff or posting the few things we did post. So it does. It gets an 8 for me as well.
Yep. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Then concessions. Did you eat any concessions this time?
So I didn't this time, but I have in the past. So for me, I give it a 7. And it's not because I haven't had anything bad from there. Again, it's probably going to sound like a broken record, but I think it just falls victim to beginning of the year. But they got a good menu. I know it with a crew member for mine, from him being up north, it's always holds a special place for him because I'm not sure if you heard him talk about it, but Speedies, did you hear? So it's basically like I said, it's big up north, but basically, so down there, Steven, they put it on a hot dog bun, but like you can do chicken, you can do pork, you can do steak. It basically it's a special kind of sauce, Speedy sauce, and like marinates in it. But so down there,
my mom had one of those.
So
she said it was really, really good.
Yeah, it's super tender and got a good marinade on it. So, but and just the fact that I think for me too is like I can speak from it firsthand because I was there when they first got it and was like literally in the process of like we would go there and race, and I remember the first time we raced down there, they had the bathrooms knocked down. Yeah. So like they brought in they weren't porta-johns, but the ones that you go to some concerts, they're like air conditioned. I mean, they're nice. Yeah. Like that. Right. That's what they had down there the first time. So they've just done a lot down there, man. I mean, they do it themselves, and so for me, it gets a 7. Like I said, I didn't eat anything personally this time, but I have had stuff there before.
I did eat a hot dog. It was the dog was really good. It's grilled, perfect amount of ketchup and mustard. But the bun was a little oversized for the dog. I know that sounds very picky, but so it wasn't a 10 out of 10 dog for me. Probably but it was up there.
Probably using the Speedies.
Yeah, I believe they were, and I did it. Totally makes sense. I come from a family that's in the restaurant business, so I understand saving the money on that, and most people would not give a damn, but I'm not griping about that. I'm just saying, like, maybe that's not why it's a 10, because it was a 7 for me. Like I said, I only had a dog, but they had an awesome little place there. It seemed like they had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yep. So that's always an improvement on the score. All the car store people I know are very thankful for that, because some of these teams aren't going to be able to have a team mom come cook for them or whatever, or a guy that's dedicated to cooking. So a good concession stand at Florence is really nice. So if you ever go race weekly there, or you ever come to run a car store race there, or you just come to watch, definitely check out the concession stands. Facilities and shitters. That, for me, was an 8, and that's a pretty good score. At one point, it did fall behind when I first got there, all right, used the bathroom and the urinal, and it was great. Waterless deal, so it ain't nasty. They probably don't have many plumbing issues. Very nice bathroom. They just freshly built. They got pictures on the wall. Like, you can spend some time in the bathroom. Usually, at a bathroom at a racetrack, you get in and get out as fast as possible. Yeah. Right? But with the pictures up, I spent a little extra time.
Did a little gazing?
Just spent a little extra time in the bathroom. So that says a lot. And that is why I gave it an 8. Yep. And but there was one gripe for me. The reason it ain't a 10 is because there was one of the stalls did not have a lock on it. And that's probably a $1 purchase that someone knocked off and kicked under the rug. And the owner has no idea. So I'm not blaming it. But it's just, it would have been a 10 if that middle stall would have had a lock on it. The larger stall did. So it worked out good. But it was pretty good sized gap in the door seam. So the fire suit over the wall trick worked for me. That's a new trick I have. Everybody, if you go to a bathroom that doesn't have a lock on it, throw the fire suit or a shirt over the wall, and people know you're in there.
Yeah, so for me, it was the same 8. I didn't have that issue, but it did drop back for me as well when you first told me that. Yeah. But then I went to go to the ticket booth because I had somebody picking up tickets through the giveaway. Yeah. So I stopped by the bathroom up top, and all the urinals were taken, so I did use a stall, and it did have a lock. So mine went back up to an 8. So
nice, yeah, that's good. That's good. So, so another solid rating for them, 8 on the facilities and bathrooms score. Then the last one is the city and nightlife and food and all that good stuff in the surrounding area close to the track, which I thought and you thought that I would probably give this a very, very low score. But my mind was changed because before this year, the only times I'd went to Florence was with my dad racing in the Dash Series, and he, to say the least, was on a budget and would stay at pretty much the rinky-dinkest hotel he could find for the cheapest price, and that's what I remember about Florence mostly. If we stayed in hotels, most of the time we didn't, but yeah. So if you just drive into the racetrack and leave, you probably would have the same opinion I did before I went this weekend, right? Because there's really not a lot, and then you go right outside of it, 12 minutes away, which is a big factor in the score. And Tacos and Tequila was nice. There was a lot of cool restaurants in the area. There's a lot of shopping. There's a Buc-ees we went to. We'll get into that later. So there's a lot of stuff and a very, very nice hotel for a pretty decent rate. There's a convention center in the area. Mm-hmm. So, really a lot of stuff less than 15 minutes away from the racetrack. And that is why I gave it an 8 this week.
Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds like, and again, folks, we don't do this together, rating. We do our own beforehand. So, mine's 8 as well. Same deal. I'd kind of told you beforehand, what to expect and whatnot. And we've ate at a couple different places around, or most of the restaurants around that. I guess you could call it interchange. It works out that part of town. There's 5 or 6 hotels right there within a couple hundred feet of each other. Same really thing for restaurants. So for me it was an 8 as well.
Yeah. So pretty good score. My final average score for Florence, the racetrack, town, everything in general, out of 10, 0 to 10, was a 7.6. And Brandon, you're doing the math on yours now?
Yeah, I thought I'd already done it, but I haven't.
Brandon's doing the math on his now, and then we'll have their final score, which means already we know that is the new leader. It surpasses Southern National for overall experience. Nothing against Southern National. I actually thought that was a pretty damn good racetrack to go to and area, but Florence, I had a really good experience down there, and I'm actually now, after what I learned, I am considering maybe the 400 or the Icebreaker.
Really?
Yeah, maybe I would like to go back and give it another whack.
What'd you say your final was?
7.6.
Mine's 7.8.
Okay, so 7.7, right?
Yeah.
The average?
Yeah.
7.7 final score for Florence. So that's a pretty damn high score. I'd imagine that one's going to hold keep for a pretty good little while.
I think it'll definitely surpass what's next, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, moving on. 7.7 final score for Florence Motor Speedway down in Florence, South Carolina, near Timminsville. If you've never been there, it is absolutely worth the trip. It's a really cool racetrack. You can see a lot on that track, and it is it's just a unique experience for a fan, I think, because there's just a whole different racing surface and the tire saving strategies and the width of the racetrack and the different lines and stuff. I recommend the casual, new, or experienced race fan to go there and check that racetrack out. But moving on, we're gonna go with how our races went, and start to finish basically. So last week I went first, so this week I'm gonna let you take the reins and explain your race weekend at Florence.
Yeah, so as Dylan touched on at the beginning of the show, where'd you start?
I started
24th.
24th. Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. Sorry, I'm taking notes here as we're going, but obviously not the night that either one of us wanted to have, and not to sound cocky or anything, but probably particularly me, from an expectation standpoint. Obviously I know we touched on it a little bit last show, and for anybody that's followed me or any of my results, definitely a less than stellar performance. However, it was we had some help.
Yeah.
For sure. So
basically
put ourselves in the hornet's nest right off the bat. Not really sure. Got a debrief with Lee and the guys where we went wrong in qualifying. Just real tight on throttle. I think that's what killed us. Dartfish. That's the good thing about it. I know a lot of our fellow racers use it as well.
Oh yeah.
But it pretty much can help tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say it sits there and tells you everything. But
Yeah,
I think I know it helps you and I, and then also
sure.
I think it gives a good visual. So started 18th, and I actually came by you at the beginning and said I think I'm going to throw out the old parachute.
Yeah.
And got lucky actually at the start. Kind of jammed up on the bottom. I was starting up top, and we had some rain Saturday.
Yeah.
So there was really no rubber up top. So I knew every lap you ran up there was basically just going to be a cheese grater. But I was able to get in line. So we started riding, and was riding behind Ronnie Bassett, who went on to finish third last night.
Yeah.
So
great run for him. He started 20th.
Yeah, and so when we fell in, you were right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Bassett got to Diaz, got by him, so that put a car in between me and you. But before you knew it, Spotter was telling me, had 6 to 8 car lengths to you guys, and it was about that out in front, and then it stabled out to about half a straightaway out in front of me and Ronnie, and then half a straightaway behind us.
Yep.
So I just rode, got lucky. And it was about, 10 laps before what was going to be the first 40 consecutive.
Mm-hmm.
And
what happened on the first run?
yeah, but I think we had a caution, didn't we?
Nope.
We didn't?
I had 2 consecutive.
Okay, so it was
40
the
lappers.
second. It was the second one then. Yeah. Okay. See,
I
I
was about to
couldn't.
say, you were still moving after the first one.
Yeah. So it was during the second one, and we started catching the 21 car, and Ronnie got by her, and Diaz started having a problem. Me and you talked about that earlier. They were trying to make it to that next break.
Yeah.
It sounded terrible when I got it.
I guess maybe they were hoping a plug wire came off or something, but it was a lot deeper pitch than that. It was they were down a lot, and I'm assuming that their goal was to make it to the stage break or whatever, the consecutive caution deal, and probably would have pitted, maybe see if it was a plug wire, not lose any laps. Obviously just hoping for a caution.
Yeah,
like you said.
But we kind of caught him at a bad spot getting into 3, and so she kind of wanted to chop me, but then thought twice about it or was told and gave me room.
Yeah.
And so we come off corner. I was at her left rear already.
Yeah.
Right then. And
this is after you got her on Diaz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We had came through there and cleared him coming down the front stretch, and so she's gonna enter high. I go in to wrap the wall. And next thing you know, dead center. I mean, it's like she gassed up and drove it down the racetrack and drove right in the right front, and we clipped the inside wall a little bit. Luckily, didn't hit the tire on the inside wall, but it still was in it. But I immediately knew as soon as I straightened the wheel up coming down the backstretch, the wheel mark was pointing towards the shifter. So, I was like, we're in trouble here.
Yeah.
So as soon as caution come out, Lee's like, what you got? I said, man, it's off.
Yeah.
Pretty big. Looking back on it, hindsight's always 20/20. I don't know. I probably would have liked to have pitted, but it's hard to give up the track position.
I know, yeah.
But I just had saved. Basically, what that did for me then is the tire I had saved riding with Bassett, I then completely threw out the window probably 10, 15 laps when we got back going because I was having to drive so much harder and do so much more to keep the car down for how far the toe was out.
Yeah.
It just killed it. So, needless to say, we had that last restart, and I got shuffled up off the bottom and dropped pretty quick, and was back there with you. So
what was the highest you ran?
So when I was passing her, that was for 11th.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was as high as we got, and then was able to kind of hold right there. Well, actually, at the last restart, we were either running 11th or 12th. And then, like I said, got shuffled up off the bottom and dropped pretty quick.
And finished 16th?
Yeah, ended up holding on for 16th there at the end,
Yeah, it was a little bit of a gaggle there at the last few laps, and right there where we were at between, 20th and 14th, basically.
Yeah.
It was a little sketchy. So not the run you wanted, obviously, but could have been a lot worse. Salvaged a little bit of points versus probably what you would have if, you pitted and ended up, even further back or whatever. So It always sucks. And I didn't really have like a stellar day, but it was Southern National, we qualified 29th, and here we qualified 24th. So, like, that steady improvement of me trying to figure out the tracks. And it's just difficult, man. Like, after the race, I'm always like, golly, I know what I should have did now, or I should have done this, and it's so much easier to know what I need for the next next time I qualify here. Like, it's just, like, I feel like I have to race to know where the speed's made. Or I need to start practicing and getting really, like, following people and shit, just kind of seeing where I can pick up on people at and shit that, people that's been there and raced there and stuff like that. So that's something I need to do as a driver and communicate with, like, my spotter and stuff and tell them, like, man, we got to follow some people in practice and see where you're making up time at. And that's just something that I struggle with the lack of experience I have. So I kind of put us behind the 8 ball there, starting 24th. To be fair, it was only 0.3 off the pole. Last week we was, almost 0.6, so we're closing that gap too, and so that's an accomplishment. But I'm always gonna want more. I mean, I know we have a car good enough and a team good enough to go run top 10. I mean, especially top 20, obviously, but I don't see any reason why we don't eventually compete for top 10s. But without all that being said, I wasn't very. I mean, I'm not going to say I wasn't disappointed. I was pissed off starting 24th, but I'm always kind of in that mood before a race, really, no matter where I start at. But, it started. It was a 80-lap save fest. I mean, I don't think I never went full throttle. I learned a lot of stuff in that period about saving those cars that I didn't know before. That was a lot more difficult to do in my older car. I can do things in this newer car that I didn't know I could really do because I never was able to in that car. So that's something that I can kind of take away from this. But we started 24th, made some ground up kind of early, followed a couple people around on the top. I mean, obviously a lot of those guys were throwing parachutes out, like Jacob and people like that. But we managed to get around a couple cars that we were definitely racing, I guess, if that makes sense. I mean, obviously, like Jacob dropping back, I wouldn't consider that a pass, but there was a couple cars that were not wanting to get past that I passed. So that was good, and I don't feel like I ever pushed it too hard. I do think I used too much brake and drove in the corner too hard, and that's something I got to get better at. Get that front tire heat down a little bit, but, just little things like that. But we made our way up a little bit. I got to brush off the top after I watched Linsky go around me on the top, kind of had a couple pucker moments there, getting up a little too high, right on the edge and seeing the pine trees and getting her a little sideways and stuff like that. So I did learn a lot, but I made some mistakes. I felt like I was pretty consistent lap time wise and not bobbling and stuff like that. But just a couple of decisions I probably should have done that would have gave me a few more spots. But just still kind of in that mode where I'm just trying to gain respect and keep the car clean. So there's a couple moments where I kind of, backpedaled out of some spots that would have gave me a couple opportunities. But it is what it is. So we made ground up. We gained 6 spots and finished 18th. And that's obviously the goal is always to finish top 20 for me right now in this learning stage. But it was a hard vault top 20, man. These guys are good. Like, we can save all we want and do all we want. And there's just, no matter what, you're still racing unbelievably good cars. So, like, there's just a time period in the race where you're like, man, I saved more than this guy, but he's still damn pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, he's still hard to get around. He knows how to race and stuff. Well, some of them do.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
There's a few of them that don't, but, did give my first bird of the year.
Me too.
My first bird.
That's one thing we're going to start keeping track of. You talked about that
bird
earlier.
counter for the year.
We're both at 1.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Good old bird counter. But I did give one firm bird this week. I just got dive bombed. He didn't wreck me. He got close to doing it, but he gave me some room to gather it up. So, but I still gave him a good firm bird. That was I felt like it was deserved, and I don't have nothing against anybody, but at least not yet. But I don't know if you can really say the same, but I definitely gave a firm bird, and I think they recognized it. I don't know. He might not even seen it, but it made me feel better.
I don't know.
I felt like I got my point. I didn't feel like I wanted to hit him after that.
Yeah,
I think with the car.
I think with these new Torn 12 gloves we have,
It should be visible.
Yep, I think it is.
Should see a blue rod
blue
sticking
and white.
out. You see a blue rod sticking out?
I think it's going to.
Yeah.
Especially like your neon car, and you see a blue object come out.
Yeah, I don't know. It might kind of blend in with the dark blue, landscape, I guess. But, it was... So there were some moments that were not so great for me and stuff like that, and I just stuff I'm learning still, and I'm glad I was able to keep the car clean again, and I feel like that takes a little bit of skill, so I'd boast about that a little bit, and got to race with Deke McCaskill, who's like one of my heroes growing up and watching racing, so that was cool. I raced side by side with him. I kind of screwed up, and he was sort of stuck on the bottom. Actually, like, he wasn't very good on the bottom. He had, I don't think he had hardly any drive, and he either that or he got tight in the center. I don't remember. His car looks different, so it's hard for me to recognize which is him now.
Right, yeah.
But eventually I passed him on the top, and I got around him. I was like, yeah, and then I got down to the bottom and was trying to work around some people, and then sure enough, he seen me do it, and he went to the top and did it to me. I'm like, damn, the old dog is he knows what he's doing, that's for sure. So it was really cool getting to race with him. I've done it a couple times at Hickory. Got to be side by side with him. I got to watch him get ran over down the front stretch like 3 laps in a row, and then me and him raced side by side for about 10 laps and never touched. So I just see I love Deke's driving style. I've always seen him to be a really clean driver, fast driver and stuff. So it was cool getting to race with him. So that's a note that I made in my little list here. And just salvaged the top 20 out of it. Nothing to write in the record books, but another clean car, and we got a chance to go to my home track and have a little bit of an advantage, I feel like, at least versus other tracks as a driver. So I know what the car needs to do right off the get-go, and it's 20 minutes away, so we can go run a few tests and spend as little amount of money as possible on that. So not an awesome day for me, but I'm not hanging my head on that day at all. I was pretty pissed off after Southern National finishing outside the top 20, but I feel pretty decent about 18th, at least this early in the year. And that's that's kind of what we said at the beginning. Just get some top 20s out of the way, sit myself comfortably, like points wise. Just I want to be fighting in the top 10 in points at the end of the year. And,
right.
And I think consistent top 20s will get you a fighting chance in that for sure. So that's always what I want to do. But going forward, we're going to keep working and try to make that damn thing a little bit faster, make the driver a little quicker off the learning tracks and stuff like that. So we're getting there. Wasn't a terrible day. Wasn't a great, awesome day, but we mostly came home. Both of us mostly came home unscathed. A little bit damaged for you, but we got some cool tracks coming up. I'm really excited about this next stretch. We got Hickory, Ace, which is I don't know yet, but Wilkesboro obviously is, pretty much the reason I'm racing car stores.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm here. So, not definitely not as stressed out about this next month or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really
that's where me and you get to flip flop. Like I was super comfortable.
Yeah,
starting off the year,
right,
which is obviously a letdown with how it's went, and so then here coming up, really it's two. So like Hickory's still a coin flip, man. Like last year, for instance, it was my best racetrack on the tour. We ran 6th both races there, and Ace has just always been my Achilles heel. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to say the least right before Wilkesboro.
Well, I'm by no means comfortable at Ace. I've been there one time in a limited late model on a conventional setup in 2014. So it is not like I know that place very well, but I have at least seen the track and somewhat know what to expect. And it is not double wide racing really, so we'll see. It's a qualifying matters majorly.
Yeah.
And as of right now, that's not a great look for me. I've definitely got some figuring out to do on the damn qualifying Ace and stuff like that. But who knows? I've never qualified on stickers there, so maybe something like a track service like that will suit my needs. But
right.
We do have a very exciting stretch coming up, especially just a car store in general. If you're just a general car store fan, whether you watch us, which you haven't seen much of me and Brandon the last couple of weeks on the broadcast, but hopefully we plan to change that over these next few. And
I don't know. I got a decent amount of TV time at Southern National just the wrong reason. I was on pit road every time it was open.
Yeah,
or closed.
You'll have that. I was getting lapped. That was my only TV time so far. So
I don't know. You made Boo's vlog going up there to the No Man's Land.
Oh, yeah.
When you went 3 wide top.
That's true. I did have a TikTok that blew up this week. I didn't know that. I don't have my TikTok notifications on. I never look at it.
Probably a good thing you didn't. You might not have got much sleep.
Yeah, I'm Instagram.
Because that one was...
Yeah, Instagram Reels guy, and I literally looked on there the other day about a week after I posted it, and I was like, damn thing's got 50,000 views and like 1,500 likes. I don't even really look at TikTok much. I look at Instagram Reels all the time. I act like I don't do that, but... Yeah, so...
So you brought up a good point, though, that I think we need to touch on it when you were talking about you earning respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a good time to touch maybe on the lack thereof.
Yeah, there's definitely a lack of respect with some guys in the series. Like but that's that's about everywhere you go these days. Like you're not racing with a bunch of veterans. You're not racing with 32 Deep McCaskills. You're racing with 4 guys that race like that.
Yeah,
and 10
I think
guys that kind of race like that, and then the rest of them are just like, I'll do whatever I can to gain one position here.
Yeah, I think it was like a good scenario because like you brought it up, so like you had that experience with him, and obviously I've raced Deke a lot, and actually kind of how I feel like I started to gain my respect. I talked about it a little bit on our first episode. I ran second to him at Orange County in 2018 and could have wrecked him, but I wasn't going to, because I felt like in order to get to his bumper, I probably was going to take a good chance at wrecking myself.
Yeah.
But plus also, like, it doesn't take any talent to wreck anybody.
No, yeah.
Like moving somebody, me and you've talked about this pretty in depth.
Yeah,
moving somebody's fine. Rubbing is
totally
fine.
Different. Totally
Being
different
aggressive's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I've been suspended for being too aggressive. And that, like that hard racing is fine. I'm all here for it. But like, perfect example last night with Deke. One thing is Deke McCaskill, I can go on record saying this, and I'm not talking bad about him. He will be one of the hardest people to pass.
Oh, for sure.
Because I'm going to tell you this right now. If there's a racetrack that has a top, or maybe even doesn't, there's a 100% chance that at some point Deke McCaskill during that race will try it.
Yeah.
If there's a top lane anywhere, he's gonna be there.
Yeah, I was victim of it.
Yeah, and it's awesome to see, and that's just one of the strong things I've seen about him in his entire career.
Yeah.
But I got to him last night and had to work him about, I think by the time I completed the past 4 or 5 laps.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately what it was that allowed me to get by him is on exit of 2, just a little wiggle to the bumper. I mean, slight. Yeah. He may have not even known I was in his bumper, but that's all it was. Yeah. And he gave me room, and I went right by him.
Yep.
And I feel in good faith that she was being told I was there, and if not, that spotter needs to be fired.
Yeah.
Because, where it happened at, I didn't even have time to back out of it, but it's frustrating when, and it isn't even just her. I mean, I seen it out the windshield during the race.
Yeah.
Early.
Oh, yeah.
And then even throughout, like, it's just frustrating when, like, somebody's inside, and I think you touched on it, like, to counter and add emphasis to you about places that have those inside walls, or like there it's jersey barriers and not an apron per se, to just say, oh, well, the only option I'm going to give him or her is I'm just going to run them in the inside wall.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate. Like you should be, I don't expect, don't give it to me.
Yeah.
We all just want a lane. And,
there's a difference between running.
I guess entering high and then using the whole racetrack all the way through the center or at center.
Yeah.
And ruining somebody's night, for lack of better words, it's extremely frustrating.
Right.
And, I think you kind of touched on it. It happens anywhere you go. But I think it's always stuck out to me because, like, then you get these people like, well, you wrecked me.
Yeah.
Well, when you start having the reputation that if I don't punch you on entry, you're going to come down on me and ruin my night, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, I was kind of speaking about the same thing to you and, just Dad and I'm just like, man, you just got to, like, you can only take so much. Like, if he would have, there was a couple opportunities where I did give someone, like I was to their outside, but I seen them coming up. Like they were going to keep coming up, and we were just going to end up in the fence.
Yeah.
Or in the pine trees.
Yep.
So, and you do that too many times, they're just going to keep doing it. So eventually you've got to, like I'm not going to make a move like that in that position. So if they do it to you in that position, they're just going to continue to take advantage of you. So you just got to eventually, if you see me in the wall, it's because I was there and they kept coming up.
Yeah.
It's not because I wanted to be there. It's just like you've got to.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can take. So there's definitely a lack of respect, especially in that regard. The spacing of the car and your room getting in the corner.
Yeah.
Center of the corner, which you were a victim of. And like I said, I raced beside Deet for 10 laps and never touched. We were right on each other, never touched. Me and you never touch. It's just there's certain people that you can race with side by side and never have an issue with.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I went from 18th to 11th. And I know at least 5 of those, I touched them to get there. But like I said, I was wiggling them on exit. And to me and you talked about it earlier, the way I race center off a little wiggle is fair game. That's racing.
Oh, yeah.
Jacking me up on entry or like even dead center, like that, there's a difference.
Yeah. And where are you going to go if you jack me up dead center?
Yeah. And so I think what was so frustrating for me is the 6 I passed getting there gave me plenty of room.
Right.
And then you get to that one. And it's just, and then same thing, where my bird count came in, like you just touched on it, there is an outside wall on the front stretch at Florence, no wall on the back stretch, and they just kept coming. And the option was literally stay in it and knock the front clip off of it or roll out.
Yeah.
And it's just frustrating.
It does, man. And I think that it pays off for us a lot, being a clean guy that gives people room when they need it and understanding situations. But this day and age, it doesn't pay you back as much because
no, it doesn't.
There's quite a few people that's just in and out.
I think where you used to see it too is like up front. Racing for the win. When you're racing for the win, your job is to make that car as wide as you can.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I've been victim of it. I'm sure you have.
Yeah, you're racing for top 5, top 10.
I think, when that happens, like obviously the emotion's going to be a little higher if you come out on the wrong end of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's understood, I guess, us as racers,
right.
like kind of like an unwritten code, I guess, so to speak.
Absolutely.
But when it's for 11th or 12th, it's just, it's senseless. I mean.
No, I get it.
People put too much time and money these days. I think we can both agree. I think anybody listening to this can agree.
Oh, absolutely.
Cars are more expensive now than ever.
Yeah, I was a victim of it a lot last week. It was last race. There was a lot of opportunities for me to absolutely send 2 or 3 cars just into the fence, but I didn't. And that's not going to happen every week. I'm not going to. Yeah. Hickory, I know where I can hit somebody.
That's right. And I think too. Like I think for you and I think it makes it that much more frustrating. Like I think you've touched on it perfectly. When you go to somewhere that is racy and has a lot of raceability, there's plenty of grooves to give each other room and that not happen.
Yeah.
And throw each other a door or put a donut. That's fine. Yeah. But just like, oh well, I know where I'm on in their night or make a choice.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah, that sucks. It is annoying, and it's not getting any better. And no matter what, that's just late model. That's short track racing these days. It's just a lot different now. How things are handled. It's progressively gotten a little worse, and hopefully the veterans prevail and teach people to. Hopefully this next generation, like this time, we're kind of in a transition period. I guess you constantly are, but it's almost that first. It's the series. Late model racing is as young as it's ever been, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So that period.
I mean,
that means we're in the transition.
You realize you and I are considered old.
We're
at this
old,
point.
yeah, I know. We're in that transition period. So it's like hopefully these kids that are 18 and 17 or whatever racing with us right now, we teach them that, and hopefully over the coming years, they teach that next group of people like Keelan Harvick's age, or you know what I mean? Yeah. They teach that age group coming. So I think the more people that try to race with respect, the better off it'll be in the future.
Well,
but
I think
there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, I think a perfect example of it is, and like I'm probably going to sound biased because it was my teammate, but Brennan Queen and Carson Quapple raced the piss out of each other last night.
Great racing.
But not one time, because I made sure to go back and watch flow. I didn't watch the whole race, but I watched 85% of it before coming down here this afternoon. Not one time did the other run the other out of racetrack.
No.
And that's for the win. So that goes to counter like what me and you're saying about like if it's for the win, you expect it to get a little more choppy.
Absolutely.
So I mean, just we probably sound like we're ranting, but I know it was one thing that you and I both wanted to kind of touch on.
Yeah.
And you're always going to be animated about it when you're on the wrong side of it. But
couple birds hit the window this week, so that's part of racing, and it's frustrating, but that's kind of part of those tight tracks like that sometimes. And
I'm gonna blame it on the air. It was the first warm race.
It was a warm race. It was the first night race of the year.
We dealt with rain again. Wouldn't be a race weekend.
It wouldn't be a 2 for 2 on rain at either on Friday or Saturday at the racetracks. So that's unfortunate, but. So that's basically how our weekends went. We had not stellar weekends, but okay weekends. Cars in one piece, it's a decent weekend.
Yeah,
right?
I think the thing that you and I are able to share so far and be thankful for is results have sucked, but we can work on our stuff instead of fix it.
Absolutely.
And I can say last night...
Ball joints are a lot cheaper than front flips.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Ball joints are cheaper than body parts.
Ball joints and pulling fender braces out.
Yeah, we can deal with that.
Yeah. Cutting metal or replacing it.
We've got the partners that have us racing, but we don't have them to fix it every damn week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're out here to keep our cars clean at the same time. So
I guess our next little topic here, ensuing first weekend of it, was the good old cone restarts.
Oh yeah, that's right. New cone rule.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I thought it was cool.
I'm like it being able to be put in your hands regardless.
I do. Yeah, I like being able to make that decision for myself.
Matt Weaver.
It mostly evened out for the most part. I don't think I gained or lost anything overall. Like I gained one restart, lost one restart, gained. So like, at least in the order.
Yeah.
So that wasn't too big of a deal. I think the Cars Tour will probably be like that most of the year. I don't think you'll see a bunch of major risk takers. Everybody will just be pretty much evened out. You'll not see you'll never see everyone not be risk takers is the better way to put it. Everybody wants to try the top.
I'm going to make a prediction now of where I think it'll be, and I know we're going to touch on it a little later in the show, but where I think it's going to be interesting next is going to be Wake County.
Yeah.
Talking about the top.
Yep. Yeah, I heard this weekend Wake County was slower now with the new asphalt.
Slicker than
I don't know.
Tied on a go-kart track.
They got repaved and supposedly it's even slower. So we'll see. I don't know. Wake County, that'll be a damn thing. That's for sure.
But I liked it being in my hand. Matt Weaver was there covering. Shocker. I mean, testament to that guy. His appreciation.
He's probably in Coda now.
Yeah, but he pulled me to the side before we left last night and was asking me about it. You know, I like it being able to be in mine in your hands because when you do that, and if the restart doesn't go your way, at least you're still going to be frustrated. We're all human. Right. But at least you're like, well, you know what? I made that choice. I was dealt that choice.
Yep.
And so, like, for me last night, once I received the damage, I had to have the bottom.
Yeah.
The only chance in heck I
that's
had,
nice.
was to be on the
nice
bottom.
To have.
Without it, I was in trouble.
And I started liking the top, so I chose the top most of the time. Other than one, Dad made me choose the bottom, and sure enough, that's when they wrecked on the top going into one on the restart. So whenever the restart was like at 10 miles an hour. So I
think that's being generous.
Yeah, it was maybe more like 6 mile an hour. It was the slowest restart. I had to shift down a second, basically.
Yeah,
so.
I know you. So did you?
No, I didn't, but
I did, and I knew you had to be close. I mean, and I can honestly say it's the first late model race in a long time I remember having a restart in second.
Yeah, I grabbed clutch and revved it up and then dropped the hammer.
Yeah.
I spun tires like hell. That's an idiotic way to restart, but it was either that or like get all screwed up because I was already like timed up, ready to go, and that was a disastrous restart. But yeah, I ended up tearing some shit up, tore up Isabella and Ryan Wilson in that wreck, and I barely missed it. That was a nice little pucker factor moment I'll have on my GoPro in this week's vlog, so we'll have that. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers our racing events from this past weekend between our highs and lows and rain and everything else. I think I'm a Rookie of the Year participant.
I was going to ask you about that. So
yeah, I guess I'm going to do it. I don't see why
I meant
not.
to mention it to you.
I guess I'm going to do that.
Did you have the banner on last night?
I didn't get it on, but I think I declared.
Or banner, sticker,
yeah,
whatever.
I did. I don't. I mean, it's yellow. I don't really like that it's yellow, but I get it.
No, it's bright.
But
it goes good with your orange.
But I do love McAllister Precision Marketing. I love Tanya. She's a great woman. So I've always loved what they did. She used to help us out on Windshield Deep a lot and stuff too. So I don't mind her logo on there, but the yellow, I don't feel like a rookie. So that's why I didn't really think about it. But I guess I'll to do it. Hell, if you win it, you get $1,500.
Yeah,
shit. So I'll do that. I'm a rookie of the year candidate, and hopefully
I can say too, it's more than that.
I guess I was the rookie of the race.
last night?
Yeah, I think so. I don't even know who I'm running. I know Isabella, she wrecked. Cameron, he fell back towards the end. I don't know if he got involved in something.
You might have got beat. Who's running it?
I don't know.
He blew by me at the end.
Who?
Oh gosh, hold on. Let's go to the old handy dandy race monitor. Last name's Brown.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even. What number is he?
42. He finished right in front of me.
Oh, did he? Oh, well,
So
I'm
that's
right.
why
Damn, finished second rookie in a rookie race last night. I didn't know if he was running for it or not. I didn't know he was a full timer.
I think that's. I can't remember if he had it on there or not. So
I don't know
if he did, you got beat. If he didn't, you definitely.
Well, either way, I think we are running for that. So that's something I'll kind of cover more on the vlogs each week. Kind of let you know how I'm running in that deal. Tacos and tequila was really good. I had my first meal down there. I had a margarona, which is a margarita with a Corona in it, Coronita.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. Ate some kind of trio plate. It was pretty good. I did try something new for the first time. I hated it. I will say that. It was some kind of pepper with like cheese stuffed in it and like deep fried. Wasn't a fan.
Chili rellenos?
Yeah, I don't like that.
What?
Yeah, what the hell, dude? It's like just eating a big pepper. I don't like it. It was too slimy, you know? I don't like that shit.
Oh, so you're a texture guy.
Yeah, I am, but I like oysters, which is weird. Anyways.
Yeah, because...
you know, that's the nastiest texture you can eat, right?
Right.
But yeah, so the tacos and tequila was really good. Best restaurant we've been to on the tour so far.
We didn't eat together this week, but we were
close.
In the same
restaurant. We also
actually your bird count's higher because I got one.
Oh yeah, I did give you a bird that night. I gave him a bird. We also visited Buc-ees.
We did,
and we got some merchandise.
Yeah.
Let me just throw this on real quick. Buc-ees hats. We got Buc-ees hats at Buc-ees. They were pretty damn neat. They fit pretty good. I like them. Good sun hat. Definitely a good beach hat. I spent $106 in Buc-ees and got pretty much nothing that was important.
No.
I got a fuel can.
And I call the hat important.
I got cookies and some hot and spicy beef jerky and a shot glass. And something else. A football. I got a football for no reason. I was willing to talk to
Should we show the listeners and viewers that this hat is or I guess it would be, you can't say by usable. I don't know how to.
It's like reversible.
Yeah.
I don't really know who.
We can either. What was the statement?
I kind of look like an idiot.
What was the statement we made? We could either look like who or what when we.
Yeah, that is.
Which it is higher right now because
It looks interesting that.
To me, on the Jetson, this is the way you want to go for Arrow.
No, it'll fly right off. It ain't got really tight grip on it. I did notice that. Yeah. Buc-ees was cool. We had a good time at Buc-ees. We took the wives there.
So yeah, let me. So obviously we kept hammering on you about going, and finally you're like, all right, yeah, let's load the old car up and go. Tell everybody what you thought when we first arrived.
It was crazy. It was like the Taj Mahal of gas stations and Walmarts. Like I don't know. It's like it's just this giant store. Overhyped, maybe a little bit. Between all the people that post on Facebook and how crazy it is. Is it worth driving 5 hours just to go to a Buc-ees? No.
Is it worth going if one's in the area?
If there's one in the area, absolutely go to Buc-ees. It's awesome.
You did secure something else, too, that you nor I have had in quite a couple months.
Happy Dad. Yeah. They had Happy Dad down there. That was cool. Happy Dad seltzer. It's pretty good stuff. Pineapple.
And then you did secure a fuel can.
I bought a fuel can, Race Jodes
Yep.
or something like that. So I did it was a random fuel can. I'm assuming it's probably for side by sides or something, because it's over in the hunting area. But I did buy it for $23. Pretty idiotic, but I did buy it. So I got a cool gas can now. After that, we went and had some cigars on the patio outside the hotel. So that was nice. Nice and relaxing.
It was nice the way the schedule was this week.
Yeah.
We didn't have to be there super early on Saturday morning. So
I love a good night race. Day racing is not for me. So we had a couple of cigars on the patio. That was nice. And awesome weather all weekend. It was nice and warm.
Minus the little
it did rain on us
on Saturday. But
it did rain on us, but it was warm. So I really had a good time in Florence. It was pretty damn neat. The Flow broadcast was awesome. I watched a lot of it last night on the way home, and you said you watched a lot of it today. Eric, Blake, and Pike, they all did a really good job. Also, obviously, all the producers too, but they did a really good job. They flow together really well.
Yeah.
No pun intended. So they did a good job. I'm glad to see Pike back at the track. He's very adamant about the car stores. It's always good seeing him there.
He's very energetic.
He's glad to be.
Individual.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with it.
No, absolutely. He does a great job being a pit reporter. So that's for sure. So the broadcast was awesome, and if you were able to see my social media, you could have went and watched it for free up at Dooley's in Wilkesboro, right across the street from Two Burrows. Dooley's, same people own it. Seth,
right,
car owner, owns it. So he had it on there because they have more TVs and my new beer, Neon Lager, which we just released and made public this past week. You can actually go to Dooley's or Two Burrows still and have some. Have all you want, actually. I mean, it's available on tap, but not in cans yet. So the cans, it takes a process to get the cans printed, scanned up, all that good stuff, get the liquid in them. So that's its own process, but we're getting there. It should be May 5th is the estimated date of arrival.
Cinco de
Mayo, which we'll be busy racing at Ace. So kind of impedes on that plan. But that following week, we are going to do...
It doesn't if you win.
No.
Sounds like
if we win,
of an after party.
Yeah, if something good happens, we're leaving straight from Ace and going to... Well, Saturday night we can maybe go there because it is a Friday night race, right?
Or the keg just gets brought here.
Yeah, or that. That's cool too. So yeah, we got Neon Lager. It's a really, really good beer. I think you guys will all like it. It's a light beer, a little bit orange to the color, not much, just slightly as a subtle nod to the neon orange wrap we have on the car, and it's a really good beer. It's a lager, similar to a Budweiser with a little bit more taste to it, but not too heavy on the alcohol, so you avoid those typical headaches that you get with craft beer on occasion. If you drink a very sugary craft beer, which Two Burrows is very good about not doing that in general, but the Neon Lager is very light, but it's very tasty too. So I think people will really like it. It'll be available here pretty damn soon. After May 5th, it'll be available in cans, but right now you can go get it at Dooley's or Two Burrows on tap. So go try it out if you're a beer guy or want to be one or gal. It's like I said, it's really good. We're going to do a big Neon Lager release party that week after Ace, and you're going to be involved in that. This podcast is going to be involved in that, and maybe even some other drivers and cars and some car store stuff. And then we have some pretty cool plans with the car store the week of Wilkesboro too. So stay tuned on all that. I'll announce that as soon as I possibly can. So. That should be pretty soon. What is your plans for the next month? We have a whole month, basically, until we race Hickory. That was just April 22nd. Today is March 26th. So have just about a month to go do some stuff. So what do you got planned for this off period?
Yeah, probably lick my wounds for another day or two.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully less than that. No, yeah, so got Easter coming up, not this coming weekend, but following weekend. Yeah. I think me and the wife may go to the beach for a few days.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did say that.
Not sure yet.
We might crash your party.
Yeah, yep. And then, we've been looking at the schedule. I may, I think in racing, everybody can kind of attest to this. It kind of, especially at the beginning of the year, like if you're running bad, sometimes you're just like, man, I'm glad for a break. But then also, too, if you're running bad, you're like, you need to go somewhere and try to shake get something going, get some confidence. So we're kind of looking. We may pop up somewhere. Right now, my next scheduled race, just like you, is Hickory. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I'm not going to race Easter weekend, but that weekend after, so I think it's like 15th, 16th, something like that. Whatever the weekend in between Easter and Hickory is.
Sneak a race in.
Yeah, might cool. Go somewhere and try to turn the old season around or get some momentum going. But,
any particular track in mind, or no?
Just kind of looking like probably play. Sobo obviously always stands out, from all my experience there. So may go up there if they have a race.
Right there by it and stuff too.
May go up there if they have one. Motor Mile if they're running, or Tri-County. Yeah. If they're I would say the one of the three we just named.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, but you never know.
You know what you need to do also? You need to get the GoPro so we can start attaching footage from each of our races during these podcasts.
I told you I have one, but it's like ancient. I don't even know if the thing will cut on.
Yeah, I mean, I have a session I could let you use at the racetrack. I'll just put in your car. That way you have, that way if anything happens, you can have the footage for yourself, obviously, but then like if there's, you can go.
I can't wait to see yours. I'm hoping the 360 knew to engage right when you shot the old bird.
Oh, yeah, it'll be right there on it for sure. I don't have to engage shit. It's just always 360. So I go in and pick out where I want it to record. So the bird will probably be in there, and the couple of the pucker moments will be in there and stuff. So we definitely need to step up our game plan or our game.
Yeah.
To have you a camera in there too. That way we could start showing some clips from that.
Yeah. Also over the off month, probably trying to get my merch going. I know you're getting some stuff going too. Trying to probably get some of that work done.
We need to do some big time auto racing merch one of these days too.
Yeah. I've got some, as me and you call them, maintenance Mondays.
Mm-hmm. Always some good maintenance Mondays over the off month.
So yeah, what about you? What are you going to do with the off month?
I've got no major plans. I am going to go do some testing at Hickory. I'm sure if I can somehow come up with tires.
Good luck.
I have 0 tires now, basically, other than my 30
the big
laps
stack leaving Florence over there on the right. Mike could have.
I didn't pay attention.
They're in the woods.
I thought about crashing a beach party, but we actually have a lot of promotion stuff I've got to do the next month, like with Wilkesboro, the go-kart track, myself, obviously, and then working on some new opportunities with some new partners and stuff. So I actually have a lot of work I need to do this coming off month, but I'm definitely going to enjoy some beers. But one thing I did say is I'm going to play a lot of golf the next month.
That's right. I mean, you do have to.
I'm going to play a lot of golf. I'm a big golfer.
I'm ready to go swing the old
we need to go play some. I've been abusing my golf game the last 6 months, really, just basically since I started racing again, honestly. Since Wilkesboro, I haven't golfed but like once or twice. Before that, I golfed at least like once a week, basically. Yeah. So got back down to about a 12 handicap last year, and now I'm up in this 18s again, probably. So looking to shorten that back up closer to about 14, hopefully by the end of this off month. So I'm going to probably play a lot of Rock Barn and maybe some more at Old Steel. I got some other people that have been wanting to play with me more at this course in Statesville. So me and you need to go pretty often. We need to get shit together. That way when we go to the beach and stuff later in the year at some point, eventually maybe we just need to go to the beach and just golf for like 3 or 4 days.
Never anything wrong with that.
My buddy Moses, we'd go down to Pinehurst, play with him. Yeah. That'd be fun. We'd go play with him at Pinehurst. Or we could just go to a local goat trail around here, just, wrinkle out or iron out the wrinkles in our game. Yeah. So, and not a whole lot of plans, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of content out.
It seems like, too, though, that always kind of like what you just touched on, the off months aren't really off. They're busier than all get out.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely need to do an off-month show, I think.
Absolutely.
When we have this much time off, we can throw a show in there and just talk about what we've been doing or maybe set up some kind of at a special location. I don't know. That'd be cool. Maybe we can work out something like that. So, so not a lot of plans for the off month, but as far as big plans, but we do have a big race at Hickory coming up, at least for myself. Obviously, the home track, one I have the most experience at. So to keep it short, man, my goal is to go out there and finish top 10, run top 10 all day, be a threat. I think that I've learned quite a bit at Hickory. The older I've gotten, and I feel like I've gotten pretty competitive there, pretty much in any race I've ran over the last 4 or 5 of them. So. I feel pretty good about Hickory. I'm confident about Hickory, and I'm very excited to drive this. I've never raced this car at Hickory, but I'm excited to drive a little bit newer car, and hopefully it's a little bit easier to save tires and stuff like that. So my goal is going into Hickory as a top 10, and usually Hickory's a really good race at Hickory, or it's a really good race in the car with the Cars Tour. Typically it's either a shit show or a really cool save fest, so it's always exciting for the fans. I feel like fans always come to the Hickory Cars Tour race. Mm-hmm. It's always one of the bigger events anyway. So, yeah, man, looking for a top 10, and hopefully starting to turn some heads a little bit. Obviously we've done a decent job to this point, but I definitely am ready to start getting some results out there and getting us up the standings a little bit. How about you? What are you thinking this time? You've had a couple good runs last year.
Yeah.
Since you started hanging out here, I think you adjusted to the pollen in this area.
Yeah, I got a little bit of that hometown rubbed off
yeah,
on me.
Yeah, you've had enough home-cooked meals here now. You're basically a Hickory at night.
Yeah, man, it's unfortunate to have to be this way, but I think to go in there and get a top 10 would be like a win.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously looking at the results be at the end, beginning of the year, you got to be realistic, and I think right now, obviously we're struggling a little bit. Obviously last night, I don't our finish for sure last night doesn't reflect the car we had.
Yeah.
I really truly feel like, and here we go again with coulda, shoulda, woulda. If the pay wouldn't have paid off that, we'd probably be pretty well off.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I think we had a top 5, top 8 race car.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the damage, especially at a place like that, is pretty substantial. So, but yeah, I mean, I think anytime you go into Hickory and run top 10, the place is tough.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously all about it. So, if we can go in there, car in one piece, get a top 10. Obviously, I want more than that. But here for how the year started, and that being round 3 with the tour, if we could go in there and get a top 10, I'd be pretty happy.
I totally agree. I have the same goal, so hopefully we come back here with some single-digit finishes next time we talk to y'all about a race anyway.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I did. So this past week I got an IV.
That's right.
Before I went to Florence.
Mm-hmm.
On Thursday, we left on Friday. I got an IV, and it was a cocktail mixture of like vitamin B for energy, some immune support stuff, as well as a lot of hydration mixtures and potassium and stuff like that. So, man, I loved it. Like, obviously, if you don't like needles and IVs, it's probably not for you. But if you don't really care about that, like don't bother you, which doesn't me, it was awesome. Like I instantly felt better, slept better, had more energy in the mornings, and felt more focused, if that makes sense. Definitely had I got back to neutral, I feel like, on the health thing and the hydration thing. So definitely liked it. Felt great after the race. Felt great this morning. And usually that's the hardest part, right? It's the next morning after a race. You're usually kind of sore and worn out and dragging ass. I've had pretty good energy all day today, and I feel I lost a good amount of weight too, and usually that kind of makes you run out of energy. So I'm pretty good, man. Feel a whole lot better. So I really liked the IV thing. So I want to go back to the holistic doctor of the Carolinas in Wilkesboro again, probably during this off month, and get a tune up, and then also right before Hickory.
Yeah.
So I'll probably get 2 more before Hickory. So big fan of that. Recommend that to any race car driver out there. It's or really anybody, man. It's good if you sweat and work and need energy a lot. Ditch the monsters every morning and go have yourself a IV once a month, and you kind of, man, it gets the toxins out of you, gets you right, especially if you enjoy adult beverages as often as I do. You do have to. You gotta get yourself back together every now and then. But yeah, man, that pretty much covers it. This is another good episode. I feel like we covered pretty much everything we had to talk about with Florence, and let everybody know the goals for next week and or next race. And we are, let's see, this is, well, obviously episode 2, but you should be hearing this on Monday morning.
Yeah.
So happy Monday. Go kick ass this week and enjoy yourself a cold beer tonight when you get home. And hopefully, if you guys are watching this on video, thanks for watching on video. You can listen to this podcast after every car store race. You listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or obviously on YouTube as well. So be sure to do all that. We want to thank all of our sponsors, obviously, that's helped us to get to race to this point, which is why we're doing this show. Two Burrows Brewery, Stardust Cellars, and Brandon, you want to name anybody?
Obviously, everybody who followed the race this weekend, had one of my sponsors be the presenting sponsor in Grand Atlantic. Obviously, later this July, have the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200 at South Boston for the first leg of the Virginia Triple Crown. So, got to thank Thunder Road, Harley-Davidson, Crossroads Harley-Davidson, Grand Atlantic Ocean Resort, Mincy's Graphics, and Discount Oil, and obviously all of my Lee Pulliam Performance guys. It's been a tough start to the year, but it ain't been for a lack of effort, and luckily we got a lot ahead of us to turn the whole thing around. So.
Yeah, man. We've been blessed to get to this point, and I feel like we're seizing the opportunity. I mean, I'm looking forward to many more podcasts this year, but the first one did great, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. So, thanks again for listening, and we will be seeing you guys here in a couple weeks. We'll do a tweener show, maybe at a different location, maybe not. Might change some things up. We'll see how it is. Maybe a quick little game show or something we'll do, and then after that, obviously, then we'll have a history review. And in the meantime, I'll have a few vlogs coming out over the next month. So check out the YouTube channel, same channel here. You can go that you're watching this podcast on. You can go look at the vlogs. If you're listening to this still after all this calamity here at the end, you can go to youtube.com/DylonWilson and you can see all of our good stuff. So appreciate y'all. We'll be seeing you next time.